Hey everybody, welcome back to A Brief on Grief. Today, I don't know if you can kind of hear it in my voice, but my voice is pretty hoarse, but I didn't I didn't want it to stop me from recording and speaking something that was resonating in me today. And I do believe that it's connected in a way. Um, where to start this? The last few days, I became aware of, I was thinking kind of globally in my life of the things that I want and the things that I may be doing to resist them. And again, it's all about it, when when I really get into this stuff, I've learned that it's all about opening up your heart. It's all about healing the pain and some of the energy that blocks up your heart. Um, so that more love can be in there, more love for yourself, more love for other people, more love for this world. And that's what opens up that channel for everything that you've ever desired to come to you. I know this words like this and ideas like this can seem like out there, and I get that. Like a couple years ago I would have been like, whatever that means, that sounds lovely and hairy fairy magical, but what does that even mean? Anyway, I'm just going to speak this for the people that it may resonate with, because for me, that's the journey that I've been on the last couple of years, is about healing the pain and the grief that have been held in my heart and held in my body, um, out of protection, because we do it out of protection. We do certain things in our lives, we behave certain ways, we hold certain beliefs and views about ourselves, about other people in the world, out of protection. And I've been trying to explore all those things in my life, because I know we learn certain ways of being out of protection, and that's the way our childhood nervous system and brain works. But those kind of things are definitely not useful for us moving on in our life as adults. But we may be convinced that they are for a long time, and I was at that place until I was 40 years old. And then in the last couple of years, that's where it's changed for me. So without going into too much of all that, the last couple days, I realized that I am holding resentment towards humanity. And of course, underneath resentment, anger, all those kind of emotions, there's always grief underneath it. So I just became aware that, wow, yeah, I'm still holding grief, because I have a thing where I don't listen to a lot of news. I don't, I rarely do. And that's, I came grounded in that the last couple of days, that was a protective mechanism for me. And sure, it works from keeping out stuff that I don't want to hear about, or, filtering things that I'm aware of, but I only want to do it in small chunks. So I'm not going to watch the news every day. But I realized the other day that I'm actually missing out on some stuff too, by having that all or nothing kind of behavior. And I thought, well, the secret to life is about balance. So this all or nothing behavior must be hurting me in some way. And then I was asking myself, well, where is that coming from? And I was just like, well, yeah, I'm trying to, because the world seems dangerous, the world, whatever. And then I somehow grounded, but there's a long little path of magical things that kind of led me to the resentment part. But I realized I have resentment against the world. And then I was like, I know grief is underneath that. And I believe we all, especially what's going on in the world right now, I mean, we had it before too, but with what's happening right now with the pandemic and the racial pain, and yeah, there's so much going on. So I thought, wow, yes, it's definitely there. Like when I asked myself that question, I felt like kind of like a pain in my heart and a tightness in my stomach. And yep, and definitely a yes. My body definitely said yes. And then over the next day or so, I was like, okay, so what do I resent the world for? What do I resent humanity for? Where is the grief? And then things started coming up for me. One of the big ones for me, and I know this is a global pain for women, but also for men, and I think I'll speak to the men part later, but for women, the shame, there's shame involved in sexuality, in both men and women. We carry shame. That's a whole other topic. But the objectification of women in our society is where the pain and the resentment is for me. And I know that's always been there for me, and I know that it's done a lot of harm to myself and other people that I care about. And I've been exploring healing and understanding that, from understanding the pain and stuff of where men come from and their trauma and their grief. But when I feel like there's still more to heal inside of me, it seems really overwhelming that I'm like, but I can't heal the whole world. I can't heal a patriarchal society on my own. I can't, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a big thing, but it's at the same time, I keep coming back to, I know that if I heal the stuff inside of me, that will eventually help. And that's all I can do in the end, because me holding the resentment in my heart, me holding the grief in my heart about it, does not help me get what I truly desire. Because what I truly desire is like the richest, most fulfilling, intimate connection and love with friends, with family, and with new like romantic partners. It's the deepest desire of all of us humans. And it's definitely the path that I'm moving towards, and why I'm doing all of this healing and stuff. It's all about getting to greater love, a heart full of greater love, a heart that's healed and grieved some of the stuff that it's held for years and years, to be able to open up to greater true love, to give greater true love, to receive true love. And I just believe that there's power in speaking this, because there's power. Even though I can't fix it for the world, I can heal it in myself. And that's kind of the journey that I'm on. And I want to touch on the male side of it, because I think as females, we feel like the victims. So we have this anger and resentment towards males and the world, the patriarchal run society in general. But I want to bring up a very important part of it, is that the objectification choices and behavior that men of our society make is not coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of pain as well. It's coming from a place of shame. It's coming from a place of being shut down. It all comes from pain. The only desire a human being has to do something that controls another human being, or hurts another human being, or objectifies another human being, all comes from a place of pain. It never comes from love. So I see this as a grief that our whole world holds, both male and female, different genders. Again, I don't want to leave out the different genders as well, or different people that identify by different genders. I believe that it's a global grief that we hold, a global grief of imbalance, separation, disconnection, power over another. All of that it separates, and it brings us farther and farther away from the love that we desire from each other. Same sex, different sex, friends, romantic partners, families. That separation just brings us farther and farther away from what we all desire from each other. So yes, it's not just women speaking up as being victims in this. I feel like I'm speaking up for saying that it's the pain that our whole world holds. That I think back and forth resentment towards, like, if we think of just the two sexes, male and female, it's that battle back and forth. I think there's a resentment and shame battle back and forth about being loved and being seen and being valued and being accepted. And I think I could go on forever about this topic of how it affects relationships, how it's affected relationships that I've been in. but that dynamic struggle back and forth to feel loved and seen, and respected, whether we're talking about our sexuality, our sexual expression, our sexual safety, or anything. That is the common desire for us all humans, to belong and feel loved and feel respected and safe and free. So, global grief. This is an aspect of global grief that I'm becoming very aware of in myself and in my heart right now, and doing an ongoing journey of healing that. And we'll see what comes out of that, and we'll see what I create out of that for the world and for myself. Okay, thanks everybody. See you next time.